Hello and welcome to yet another review. This time it is a huge title launched quite late in the year itself, Black Ops 6 on the Xbox Series X. Is it worth your money? Is it worth investing your time? I've put a lot of time into this on stream. I've also put a lot of time with this off stream as well, especially farming the zombie modes and also farming the multiplayer, the team deathmatch, and I've put a lot of time into this, so it's going to be very, very hard to do this as a complete review. But I'm going to highlight certain aspects of all the modes itself, and then just give you my overall input. So is Black Ops 6 worth it? Let's talk about it. We're going to review the game in exactly the same way that we do anything else. So we're going to be as fair as we possibly can do. The very first thing that we're going to look into is the choice of music used, audio effects, and voice acting. Soundtrack is super important to me. If you've known me for a while, you know that soundtracks are almost #1 priority, because it can make or break a video game. It can make a game so much better, and it can also make a game so much worse. And does Black Ops 6 offer a soundtrack that's worthy of its name? Yes, it does. 100%. It was awesome throughout the entire campaign. It was also nice to hear a lot of the music clips used in Zombies as well, because they've got Easter eggs that you can actually hunt down to trigger songs. And I can't say nothing bad in any way about the soundtrack used in this game. I thought it was spot on, and it worked really, really well. The effects, the explosions, and all the gun sounds itself, I can't fault them. Again, I really, really, really can't. I tried looking for anything that just wasn't right, and I couldn't find anything. My varied choice of weapons, I went through them all. They all sounded different. They all sounded unique. They worked quite well. Even in the zombies mode, the explosions are really, 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 really crisp. And the like I said, I always try my hardest to see if there's a fault somewhere, and I couldn't. It all worked for me, and I didn't have any issue with it. The voice acting, the campaign voice acting was superb. It was absolutely on point. And I'm going to talk quite a lot about the campaign, because I know a lot of people that are just going to skip the campaign and go straight to multiplayer or go straight to zombies, and maybe not even consider giving the story a try. And so I'm definitely going to talk a lot about the campaign itself. But in terms of the audio side of things, I couldn't find any faults with it at all. I thought it all sounded absolutely on point. I mean, I'm a handgun and a shotgun lover, and those just put a smile on my face, because they were very, very loud, very, very crisp, and it worked well for me. The next thing that we look at is the graphics itself, the texturing, weather effects. This also covers character model design, glitches and bugs that we saw within the graphics itself. So first of all, I have to talk about the graphics and the engine that they utilized in the story, the campaign. I was completely and utterly blown away by how good the graphics engine looked in the story mode. And it got to a point where it looked freakishly film-like. It was so detailed and so gorgeous looking. At times, honest to God, I thought it was running just a movie. And over the years, I have seen the advances in the graphics that they've been utilizing in the Call of Duty games itself, and this is by far the best I've ever seen. I even when you go into gameplay itself, it looks absolutely amazing. So I have to tip my hat to them. I really, really do. I thought they did an incredible job. Now, the graphics in multiplayer, it looks just as good, and the graphics in zombies, again, looks just as good. The zombies are actually really well detailed in this, and they're a little bit more varied because of their uniforms that they're wearing, who you're fighting, etc., etc. But the biggest praise I have to give this game at the moment is how gorgeous the graphics engine is. And did the graphics engine work? Hell yes. I didn't notice any real issues with the graphics engine. There were a few segments where the frame would drop a little bit, and you can see just very, very, very small stuttering every once in a while. It is like once in a blue moon though, and it didn't really bother me much. But I have to tip my hat to them. The game looked absolutely just stunning. The character model designs, again, can't complain. All the characters that were in the story, all the characters that you get to play as on multiplayer and even online, all look great. Absolutely fantastic. If I was to nitpick though, I think it would be nice, or it's about time, that we get to create our own character in multiplayer and even our own character in Zombies. They've got so many different character models that they utilize across all the games. Surely by now it would be nice to create our own soldier. That's just my opinion. I think it would be nice to have, because then you feel a better connection to the character that you're using, and it becomes a little bit more personal. So I personally think it would be nice to create our own soldier now. And if that's something that they look into, then whoop, that's a win. Glitches and bugs. We didn't really encounter any glitches and bugs throughout the story that I recall. We put 2 days into the story, 2 days into the multiplayer, and a day and a half into Zombies on stream. All off stream, I did an extra day on the multiplayer, an extra day on Zombies. But I didn't really encounter any real issues in terms of any glitches or bugs. It was very well polished from my point of view. And usually you do find a little bit of glitches or enemy bugs every once in a while, but I couldn't. So, and I don't know, I was expecting to find stuff, but it was all good. Gameplay and mechanics, I don't really need to talk much about this because it's Call of Duty. You know exactly what you're getting involved with. You really should do by now. They've done so many games. It's basically just another Call of Duty game, more updated by far, again, because I've already talked about the graphics, but yes, it's another Call of Duty game. Replayability and game difficulty. The story does have a small amount of replayability in it because it does have collectibles that you can find throughout the game. Those collectibles can unlock certain items that you can utilize on your player card or your profile card. So if you want to hunt them down, you can actually replay the missions because you can go into the individual stories and redo those ones on the board. We actually got pretty lucky. I think only 2 of our missions we missed 1 or 2 collectibles. Other than that, we were really, really, really accurate. And one of the levels that allowed you to free roam, which was a wicked feature in that game. It really was. It was a massive, massive open desert area. And you had missions all over the place. And you could literally just drive around and do those missions if you wanted to. And it was awesome. It really was. And there, like I said, you can replay those missions again at any time. If you feel like you've just missed 1 thing or 2 things, or if you're looking for a certain item, just replay it, and then you can hopefully find it, or use a guide to help you at least. Game difficulty. The story's game difficulty, I was completely fine with. I didn't find the game in any way spiked or just plummeted straight down. Yes, we died a few times. There was a great... Oh, no. No, spoilers. There is a few segments in the story mode that incorporates zombies, and it's really well done. Like, really, really, really well done. But I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because that would have definitely been a spoiler. So, if you are a fan of zombies as well, then again, look into the campaign, because it does incorporate that into the story, and it's pretty well done. Any game customization and stats building. Again, I don't really feel I need to waste time on this. The customization, again, is just like any other Call of Duty. You can get cosmetic skins, you can get banners, badges, unlockables for the weapons. You just need to put the time, and this is definitely a game where the more time you sink into it, the more rewarded you get. And what I find a great feature is whatever you unlock in one mode copies over into another mode. So whatever you unlock in the multiplayer aspect, you can use those weapon unlockables to mod the weapons in zombies. And what I did is I spent a lot of my time in zombies leveling up my guns, getting the attachments that I needed, and then using those attachments in the multiplayer mode. Or playing hardcore team deathmatch, because if you're trying to level up really hard weapons like pistols, it's hard to do that in normal team deathmatch because you have to put so much ammo into someone before you can drop them. Where if you was to play hardcore team deathmatch, it's more or less one bullet. So if you can shoot them fair and square, either in the face or the chest upwards with a pistol, you'll get the kill, and then you'll level up your guns even quicker, which is awesome. The guns that I took into zombies, especially when you pack-a-punch them as well, I did find my favorite weapons for sure, and I definitely utilize those a lot. And again, even more unlockables with the zombies mode. You just got to put again, it's about putting the time into it, because there are research tiers as well, and you can research additional things within the game to unlock even more perks and even more bonuses for you and your team, especially if you can run around as a squad. It will help in zombies, especially if you're trying to find all the Easter eggs, or if you're actually trying to progress through the story of the zombies. Good luck. It's pretty gnarly. There's a lot of big beasts that come at you in zombies that can really halter your progression. And I would suggest doing your research before playing it. And the only reason I say that is because zombies is not an easy mode to figure out without some form of a escort or a guide. And I'm going to be completely honest here. The old school zombies from like Cold War, World War, I really love those zombies. Where it's basically just you defending your position, rebuilding anything that's knocked down, and just holding your position or moving a little bit around the map. But you know, it's more shooting and defending. I don't like a lot of these new zombies where you have to know everything that you're doing. Everything, these things are fucking tiny half the time that you have to shoot in order to trigger certain Easter eggs, and without a guide, you're not gonna find them. Either that, or you get really lucky, like really lucky. But I would suggest before you go into zombies, read a tutorial, a guide, or watch a tutorial video on exactly what to expect. And if you don't want spoilers and you have a friend that doesn't give a shit or has already done it, get them to be lead. But one thing I really don't like is when the story is playing out and a lot of the players miss it because they're either training zombies around the map, or they're just out there gunning all the zombies down and just completely ignoring it. Again, I don't know if they bring some of those older maps into Black Ops 6, I will enjoy Black Ops 6 a lot more, because I do prefer the older way of zombies. That's just my opinion. Story, if applicable. The campaign is all story, so it is definitely applicable, and we're not going to spoil it. All I'm going to say is that the story is easy to follow. It kind of makes sense until the end. I thought the ending could be a bit better, but I thought the story for Black Ops 6 was very well written, and it kept me hooked and entertained from start to finish. But I do wish the ending was just a little bit better and some more of it explained. Just a little bit, because the ending bit, most of it just went over my head. Maybe that was just because I was excited to watch how it was all playing out. But I thought the story was a absolute masterpiece until the end. So again, I have to tip my hat. I really do. Black Ops 6, it's great to play. Maybe if we can get some more campaign co-op story missions in our newer Call of Duty games, so I can play it with a friend. Again, I don't know if they're distancing themselves from those sort of features within the games itself, but playing the story with a friend would be awesome. I don't know. Some people, again, might only want to do it solo and they don't care about playing with their friends. I, for one, if I can pull someone in who can play the story with me and experience it with me, yeah, I'd rather go down that road. But that's just my opinion. Online co-op modes, features, and stability. I've kind of talked about a lot of those segments already. So I'm going to move past that, and anything that I've got written down notes-wise, we'll look into in a minute. Purchase price, digital price, and value of content. I mean, it's Call of Duty. Call of Duty is going to be expensive. But luckily, we managed to play the game for free because Black Ops 6 landed on Game Pass. And I couldn't be more like over the moon. I really couldn't. You can buy the next gen bundle for £70. You can buy the Vault edition for £100. There's even a there's so many packs, it's unreal. But yeah, again, the base game landed on Game Pass, so we were able to just install what we needed, which was around about 100 gig. And yes, that is a lot, but if you was to install absolutely everything that they had, you would be over 320 something gig of data. When you go to install Black Ops 6, make sure you only install what you need. Don't install everything. That's crazy. So install the base game, the multiplayer, and then there was a pack as well that you could get. So again, you should only be looking at around about 100 gig. But if you are willing to pay for those extra goodies, that is on you. I mean, again, very appreciative and very lucky that it landed on Game Pass. Microtransactions and DLC, you know, skins are a massive thing in Call of Duty. If you want your gun to look flashy and Christmassy, that's on you. But you know that's definitely going to be a thing, and going forward, obviously there is going to be a season pass where they push out even more content. I mean, the first pack that you actually download, I'm reading it now, is content pack 1. I don't know if any other content packs are going to be added free on the Game Pass edition, or if you would have to pay for them separately. You'd have to look at it at that point. The notes that we've got written down. We found a terrible, I'm not going to say it's a bug. It could be a hitbox issue or something like that. When we were shooting at certain mobs in the story in their leg, they were wearing armor. So shooting them in the leg for some reason was like shooting them in the chest in the armor. And they weren't reacting to me stun locking them in the leg. That got me killed once, and that actually pissed me off a little bit. So that can just be patched. I'm pretty sure of it. Patch that, and then you won't have to worry about that whatsoever. It happened twice throughout our playthrough, where again we were shooting the enemies at the leg to try and stun them, but it registered as an armor hit, which made no sense. They had no armor down there. One mission having an infinite ammo pistol, which was a little bit weird, but there was so much action going on that I guess you won't really care too much, but it just felt a bit weird because it was a 10 clip pistol that just kept on going. The cutscenes, as I said, cutscenes in the game are close to movie like, and I thought were absolutely stunning, and they showcase it right at the very beginning of the game because they give you a really good cutscene to watch, and it just gets better. The more you go through the campaign, it just keeps getting better because they keep doing the cutscenes and they keep looking so realistic and gorgeous. It's the biggest praise again that I've got to say about the game. The free roam level, already talked about that. The computer AI, this is another negative, unfortunately. The computer AI, the team that you're given, they're dumb as shit. Absolutely thick as fuck. They would purposely run into the line of sight of enemies. I even had 2 NPCs who ran in front of an enemy tank and was getting absolutely blasted to fuck and they were immune to obviously the damage. But it's just really badly scripted AI, and they unfortunately did get me killed a few times because they weren't aggressive in any real way. They weren't pushing the enemies back. They weren't even killing some of the enemies. And we caught a clip of one of our team standing there shooting at an enemy, and just the enemy wasn't taking any damage. They were just taking all the sponge hits until the player actually pushed forward, and that fucking annoyed me because it made my AI companions useless. And if they were replaced with a human teammate, I could have at least relied on them. The tank and the chopper usage in the story was fucking awesome. And I think I know a lot of the other Call of Duty games actually do that. So it's just another praise. Just I love being able to control a tank, or even being the gunner in a helicopter shooting down in the story mode. I find it really fantastic. Multiplayer, XBSX may get a little bit of hate for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't want to play against PC players when I'm on Xbox. I'm not going to dive any more into it. I'm not going to explain why. I just don't fucking want to play against PC players when I'm playing on console. I don't. And it really fucking sucks that you are kind of forced to do so unless you go into your Xbox settings and change settings which affect every game from that point onwards that has multiplayer co-op or multiplayer mass online gaming sessions with other consoles and all that shit. Please just allow Xbox players to go into the game that we're playing and just turn off crossplay. I just want to play against console players. That's all I want to do. I don't want to go up against PC players. I don't. I've never enjoyed that as an experience, and I never want to enjoy it because the PC players, in my opinion, have an advantage, and I just want to play a more fair game. Now, I have read a lot of Reddit forums. I know there is cheating going on right now in the multiplayer, and I have seen some very funny clips. But I have also seen their Twitter feed, and I can see that they're actively working on a lot of fixes, a lot of patches, and even anti-cheats. So good on them for powering through it. I hope they can get to a point where they can safely say that our game is close to being cheat-free or cheater-free. But just if you notice it, even if it's on your team, just put a report in because it just ruins the game for you and everyone else, and no one really likes it. Well, the only people that really like it are the cheaters themselves. So be careful. I don't know whenever you start playing it, if you do experience cheaters, just make sure again, report them and move on. So ultimately, it comes down to, is it worth pocketing the money? Is it, I mean, again, £70 and above for the base game and some extra content, or is it worth just downloading it off of Game Pass and it's free? What sort of scoring are we looking at? If you are blessed on Xbox and you do have Game Pass, I 100% recommend download the game, play it, experience it for yourself. Definitely play through the campaign. Don't ignore it. If you're going to jump onto multiplayer and zombies as well, have fun with the zombies and the leveling up with your weapons in that way. It really helped me a lot to unlock the shit for multiplayer, so I don't have to sit there and grind for it. But that's what Call of Duty is. It is a grind fest of the multiplayer mode, and it is a grind fest for zombies. I just wish the Easter eggs and the story for zombies wasn't so punishingly hard and frustrating to do that you have to. I mean, I've had to look up so many fucking guides to try and figure out how to do the story. It is impossible to figure out the shit without a guide. And I think that's wrong. I think the players should be able to figure out this stuff just by either reading stuff or listening to things, but they don't make it easy. Is it worth 70 quid though? No, that is a lot of bloody money. It really is. And that's just the £70 is just for the base game and content pack 1. I don't think any game should ever be 70 quid for a base copy of a game. I think that's absolutely fucking ridiculous. So if you're able to get it on discount around the £50 mark, good to go. In my opinion, good to go. Anything more, and I just think that's just a wee bit too high. But again, abuse the fact that it's on Game Pass for free, for fuck's sake. That's what I did. And I couldn't be more happier that I got to experience it. Ultimately, what would I score it? If we're looking as the whole, so the campaign, the multiplayer, and the zombies, I had a lot of fun in the campaign. I really, really, really did. But the hitbox issues drove me nuts. The bad AI drove me nuts. And I would probably rate the story around about an 8. The multiplayer, some of the maps are a bit too small, so you end up getting spawn camped really easily in that game, and that's something again that they'll need to end up patching. They could also bring a few more levels that are a little bit bigger to help as well. I know Nuketown is on its way, and that's a map that all the OGs know and all the OGs love, so they're going to be smothering that mode. But that's also quite small too. So have fun with that mode. And the zombies, I mean, they look great, it plays out great, but again, the Easter eggs and the story progression is so fucking hard. So with the zombies being only playable if you know how to do the story and you've done the research, I would individually review that as around about a 6 or a 7. And the multiplayer, the cheating's going to get fixed, I know, at some point. And the spawn camping, and yes, and that, yeah, probably about a 7. So if we just squish it all together, I'm going to go for an average of 7 out of 10. I think it's fair. Like I said, the majority of fun that I had was in the campaign. Even though I really, really, really wanted to be able to master zombies, to sit there and do the research first is just a pain in the fucking ass. If you can bring back, as I said, the older zombie maps from World at War, all the old school Call of Duty, I'd be blown away with happiness. I really would be. And I would put a lot more time into zombies then, for sure. But that's just my opinion. It doesn't make it right or wrong, just my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below if you feel I'm being too harsh, or if you feel that my scoring is almost on point. I'll always reply, and it goes a long way, so thank you very much. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye-bye.